Welcome back, Kennedy Oaks Day. Well, it's going to be an absolute belt of the Oaks. It's a wonderful day. Finally, the weather has come our way and building up to the point that we have been saying there's talk that they might have to water the track tomorrow to be right for Champion Stakes Day. That's how good it is going to be. What do you reckon, Bossy? Probably a 4?
They'd like to have a 4.
Yeah.
It's a really good playing deck for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Francesca Gamoni joins us. The Kennedy Champions Mile. We've got the Kennedy Oaks today. Saturday, the Kennedy Champions Mile is the one we're going to look at. Let me just mention a few names. Private Eye, My Oberon, Cascadian, Alligator Blood, Mr. Brightside, just to start things off.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting because you could look at it and be like, well, they've got a mile race and a 2,000 metre race on the same card, $3,000 for both of them. 3 million, sorry. Yeah. Thinking, well, you're competing for a lot of the same horses, but actually both the fields are really strong. And there was a bit of a conjecture, wasn't there, Bossy, about who would go for which race, some thinking of avoiding Animo, some dropping back to the mile. And
can I ask you that direct question? Alligator Blood decided to go the 1,600 rather than the 2,000.
Yeah, well, he's obviously had a couple of tries over the mile and a quarter, and I don't think he failed. He just was beaten by very better horses over that distance. I think he's a very good miler. And then we have, obviously, Private Eye, who's been running in sprints.
Here is Alligator Blood.
Here he is, Alligator Blood. Bravest horse on the racetrack.
Yeah. He's had some story, hasn't he?
Oh, he's such a brave horse. And, you know, you can't help but love these horses. They go to the front and they fight off everything. And this is tremendous form, isn't it?
Don't you love a horse that's got a great name too? Just something, just a really barrack for Alligator Blood. Go the blood. That's fantastic stuff, isn't it?
Trained by the wonderful Gay Waterhouse.
Yeah, and Gay, I was talking to her earlier today, just around the place, up on her toes, so excited. Her enthusiasm and love for the racing, you know, generational family, obviously, and Robbie, her husband, and all the Waterhouse family and things. It's just fantastic. You know, people grow up watching these people, and you just see them keep coming back season after season. Alligator Blood. Private Eye we spoke about. You also like My Oberon, don't you?
Yeah, there's been a bit of money for My Oberon, and obviously, Francesca, you know a little bit more about him, but he won the race at Moonee Valley, the Water of Crystal Mile. He just won it for fun. And Annabelle's got an amazing knack of getting these Europeans over here. She's got a good handle on it.
She did it with Zaki, and he's probably not a dissimilar horse, My Oberon. Came from William Haggis over in the UK. And I was actually watching that race on my phone as I was boarding the plane to come here, and he was quite weak in the market, I thought, My Oberon. But he absolutely put them away very easily. It was a bit of a demolition job that day. Second start in Australia this time, but go back through his European form, and it's all the right kind of race. He's probably just a notch off Group 1 form in the UK. But I think it's
good enough to hear.
Let's have another look.
I wasn't going to say that.
Let's have another look at Private Eye, which at the moment's about 310 in the market. We'll get to the markets in a second, but let's have a look at Private Eye.
He's a proper racehorse, this bloke. And don't be discouraged by his form over the sprints recently. He's had 3 starts over the mile for a Group 1 Epsom win and a Group 2 win. He's a very solid miler. It's just the fact that they've trained him for sprinting distances early in this prep.
So what is his best distance?
Oh, no, a sprinting trip, the 1,200 tour mile.
Really? Honestly, how can you be that versatile in that Group 1 level with such a big distance range?
He is a proper versatile horse, and he's proven it. He can stretch it over a mile.
What's the feeling these days about going up the Hume Highway and back a bit? I know Dr. Turf was saying last night that Bart Cummings used to hate that, you know, get down, stay in one spot, but we're seeing Private Eye up the street, up to Sydney, back to Melbourne.
Most of them like to do it. They actually like to keep them in their own environment, right to the last moment. Put them on a truck, send them. They stand in their box when they sleep at night, so they're just standing in a comfortable truck. And the trucks these days is, you know, they're like Taj Mahals. They're 5-star setups. So they just get down here and they just walk out and they just go and do their job the next day.
You'd be happy to live in one when you were an apprentice, wouldn't you, mate?
I've probably lived in worse.
Francesca, anything that catches your eye? Just as you said, My Oberon was the last thing you saw before you jumped on the plane.
I think it's an interesting coming together of horses at different distances, because you've got Private Eye, who's probably better over more of a sprinting distance, and then you've got My Oberon, who probably stays further. So how they're going to go tactically in this race is really interesting. Is there plenty of speed in the race?
And you've got horses coming back in distance too, like Mr. Brightside. You've got those things. It's
$9, Mr. Brightside.
Well, I mean, it's hard to come back in distance when you've been running that distance for a few runs, and they're not easy runs. They're tough runs. So it's going to be so interesting. It's mouth-watering again. I just can't wait.
Good stuff. We can't. We'll have to, though. We'll be there. You won't sleep tomorrow night. It's like the night before Christmas.